Our movie begins in Australia on one of the ocean beaches. We see Rory heading over to wake up his friend Josh from the car, and from their conversation we understand that Josh is going to marry Tina, Rory's sister, soon. Josh stays on the beach so he can spend some time with Tina. After a while, we see Josh sitting with Tina, and she tells him that after their vacation ends, they'll be traveling to Singapore. At that moment, we see Rory taking a surfboard and heading into the water, unaware of the shadow of a massive creature passing right under him. We then see one of the swimmers suddenly being pulled underwater, leaving nothing behind but blood on the surface. The lifeguard notices what happened from afar, sounds the alarm, and confirms that there's a shark in the water. Josh realizes that his friend is still in the ocean, so he grabs a jet ski and races out to save him. Tina keeps warning him not to go in, terrified for her brother still in the water. Josh tries shouting to Rory from a distance that there's a shark, but Rory can't hear him at all. Suddenly, the shark jumps up from beneath the surfboard, shattering it and throwing Rory into the water. Josh rushes to grab his friend's hand and tries pulling him onto the jet ski, but unfortunately, the shark drags Rory down and kills him. All that remains is a pool of blood. A year after the incident, we see Josh at home. He and Tina broke up because Josh couldn't get rid of the guilt of failing to save his friend. He had the TV on while making breakfast, and he heard news about new shark attacks on beaches, which made him even sadder as he remembered Rory. After breakfast, Josh heads out to go to work, and along the way he notices all the birds flying away from the ocean in a strange pattern. Somewhere else, we see two suspicious-looking men sitting in a car near a store. They notice police everywhere, so they decide to move to another spot. We return to Josh, who arrives at his job in a hypermarket. We see a customer named Jamie stealing items off the shelves, but the security guard is watching her closely. Jamie also notices him and runs into the surveillance room to hide. Suddenly, she finds her boyfriend Ryan working there, so she runs to him and hugs him. Right then, the manager and security enter the room. The manager demands to search Jamie, then tells Alice to deduct the cost of everything she stole from his salary. But Alice is shocked and tells him he's actually already been fired. The manager tells both of them to stay put until the police arrive. Josh continues working normally, talking with his coworker Naomi, until he suddenly hears a familiar voice. He turns around and finds Tina, whom he hasn't seen in a whole year. She tells him she's working nearby now. They talk for a moment before Alice shows up and orders Josh to clean the bathrooms. Josh gets annoyed and walks off. We then see the two men from the car, who are planning to rob the store, arriving at the hypermarket's parking garage. One of them is named Doy and the other is Dean. A police officer arrives on the scene, and it turns out to be Todd, Jamie's father. He takes his daughter to leave with him, and on the way to the parking garage he lectures her about improving her behavior and stopping the stealing. Jamie doesn't care and gets into the car. Before Todd gets in, he notices one of the criminals entering the hypermarket with a gun, so he grabs his own weapon from the car and follows him inside. We see the armed man, Dean, entering the manager's office unnoticed. He points his gun at the manager and orders him to hand over all the money in the safe. But Alice shows him that the safe is empty, so Dean grabs Alice at gunpoint and forces him to lead the way to the cash registers. Todd sees them and sets up an ambush, managing to hold Dean at gunpoint. But then Doy appears, holding a woman hostage. Meanwhile, Ryan and Jamie are in the parking garage, and Ryan is upset because he just lost his only job. Jamie feels guilty and heads into the hypermarket to talk to the manager. Josh, still in the bathroom, notices the water pressure dropping and rising strangely. Suddenly, he hears a gunshot and rushes out, only to find Doy pointing his gun at a woman, with Tina also being held at gunpoint. Suddenly, the whole place starts shaking as an earthquake hits. Down by the beach, the ocean water pulls back far from the shore, and then out of nowhere, a massive tsunami rises and charges toward the city, literally swallowing everything in its path. The water crashes into the hypermarket as well, and we see Ryan inside his car when the wave slams into him. There's also a couple in a nearby car who get hit by the water too. Once the tsunami settles and the water stops moving, the hypermarket is completely destroyed. Josh emerges from the water to find only a handful of people still alive. He helps Todd, and Steven also comes up from underwater. Josh tries to remove a metal rod that pierced Todd's leg, and he tells Steven to search for any supplies that could help stop the bleeding. At the same time, Jamie sees her father, and Josh rushes toward him. Jamie then remembers that her boyfriend Ryan was in the parking garage and decides to go save him. But Dane tells her that anyone who was down there must have drowned, which leaves Jamie heartbroken over Ryan. Josh finds Tina in the water, completely shocked. He goes down to help her and brings her up to the shelves with the others. Before Tina climbs up, she sees a corpse being dragged underwater by something she can't identify. Meanwhile, Steven finds another survivor while looking for supplies. We cut to the parking garage, now destroyed and filled with water. The couple's car didn't flood, but they're terrified after sensing movement nearby, so they stay hidden, thinking there's a body drifting beside them. Ryan is still alive in his car, which also hasn't flooded, but he decides to break the window to let water in so he can escape. He climbs out and floats on the surface, calling out for survivors, but no one answers. Suddenly, something brushes against his legs from below, pulling him down for a moment. He quickly resurfaces, terrified and unsure what just happened. Upstairs, Josh tends to Todd's wound. Ulysses tells everyone the water level is rising and that staying here will get them all killed. They need a way out. Josh says he can't go search for an exit while Todd is in this condition, so he asks for a volunteer. Tina and Steven step up and head out to look. Dane offers to check the loading dock to see if there's a door they can escape through, but Todd stops him and orders the security guard, Bob, to go instead. Back in the garage, the couple is still inside their car, panicking, while their dog keeps barking at something moving in the water. Ryan climbs across the tops of cars and notices strange movement as well. Josh also spots something swimming underneath them and warns everyone to get out of the water immediately. Tina and Steven get out fast, but Bob is too slow. Suddenly, something drags him under. Everyone screams when they hear him yelling for help. He resurfaces for a brief moment, reaching for Jamie, and she tries to save him, but the creature pulls him under again, leaving only his severed arm in Jamie's grip. The group is horrified, but the real shock comes when they realize the creature is nearly 23 feet long. Josh confirms it's a shark and warns everyone to stay alert. Back to Ryan, who is still looking for a way out. The couple continues arguing inside their car. Sewell asks his wife Heather for her sneaker to smash the window, but instead she opens the sunroof for him. Sewell climbs out and finds Ryan, asking for help. They talk briefly to plan a way to reach each other, but suddenly Heather screams that a shark is coming. Sewell quickly drops back inside the car as the shark slams into the window, cracking part of it. Upstairs, the group is brainstorming a way to survive when a new danger appears. An electrical cable falls and is about to touch the water. If it does, everyone will die instantly. Josh says the breaker is in the storage room ahead of them and was about to go shut it off, but Tina stops him. Steven volunteers instead. Before getting in the water, Steven covers his whole body with metal plates to keep the shark away and bites down on a hose to breathe through. He goes in, with Josh holding the hose from above. The shark approaches and stares at him for a moment, then swims off as Steven moves. He reaches the storage room and finds the breaker, but the hose is too short. To reach it, he has to take the hose out. He removes it, pulls the breaker, and successfully shuts off the electricity. He tries to swim back up, but the metal plates make him sink. Realizing he can't float, he gives up and drowns. When Tina learns what happened, she breaks down. Jamie tries to comfort her, but Tina remains devastated. Naomi and Dane manage to craft a spear to defend themselves. Meanwhile, Josh notices a ventilation opening in the ceiling and thinks it might be their way out. Back with Ryan, he comes up with a plan to lure the shark away from the couple's car. He cuts off the arm of a nearby corpse and tosses it into the water. Smelling fresh blood, the shark goes after it. The couple quickly jumps out of the car and swims away. But the shark soon comes back for them. In a desperate move, Sewell shoves Heather toward an overturned car for safety. Before he can climb up himself, the shark charges straight at him. He throws Heather's dog into the water as a distraction, then climbs up and reunites with his wife. On the upper floor, the group manages to get a rope through the ventilation opening. Ulysses volunteers to climb up. As Josh and the others pull him up, he reaches the opening and gets inside, only to find dozens of spiders crawling everywhere. Terrified, he nearly falls, but manages to hold onto the rope and stay inside. Suddenly, a shark bursts out of the water and lands right on top of Ulysses, slicing him clean in half. His body falls back into the water, and Tina goes in with him. Just before the shark can swallow her, she manages to climb up, and of course, after what happened, everyone is in a state of absolute terror. We go back to Ryan and the couple in the garage. Heather is extremely angry because Swell threw her dog into the water and left him to die. Swell tries to justify what he did, but his wife stays furious. Ryan keeps searching for any possible way out but finds nothing. So he decides to move across the pipes running along the ceiling. Right before climbing up, the flashlight slips from his hand and falls into the water. Ryan quickly jumps down to grab it, then climbs back out. Ryan begins his plan and starts crawling across the ceiling pipes. The shark is directly beneath him, waiting for him to fall or make a wrong move. Suddenly, Ryan's foot slips. He's inches away from falling, and unfortunately, he does fall into the water. But the shark doesn't manage to eat him because Swell and Heather quickly grab him and pull him onto the top of a car. While Swell is helping his wife pull Ryan up, he slips backward and falls into the water. His wife and Ryan can't get to him in time, and the shark tears him apart right in front of them. Meanwhile, the group upstairs is completely hopeless, waiting for death. Dean is the only one who keeps encouraging them and pushing them to fight the shark. He needs a hook that's located on the other side near the cashier. Todd volunteers to go get it, but Jamie refuses to let her father go into the water, so she jumps in herself. The shark is right behind Jamie, but she's faster. She reaches the cashier area, and when the shark tries to attack her, she hits it on the head, pushing it away. Jamie grabs the hook, ties a rope and a big chicken to it so they can use it as bait. Dean pulls her back up out of the water. A few minutes later, Josh starts preparing the bait and hook. Tina notices the chain around his neck, the one that belonged to her brother Rory. Josh tells her he's never forgotten his friend since the day he died, that he's felt guilty all this time, and apologizes for leaving her even though none of it was her fault. They throw the hook with the meat into the water, but the shark swims right past it with zero interest. Then one of the group members, Kirby, says the shark wants human flesh. Suddenly, Kirby pulls out a gun and grabs Naomi, threatening everyone and saying he'll shoot anyone who comes near him. He reveals that he knows Dean, and it turns out Kirby is actually Dodie, the criminal who was supposed to be dead. He had switched clothes with another corpse so he could escape unnoticed. Dodie throws Naomi into the water as shark food, then points his gun at Josh to keep him back. But out of nowhere, Dodie is stabbed from behind with a spear. Dean is the one who stabbed him. Dean quickly saves Naomi from the water, hooks Dodie's body, and throws him into the spot where Naomi was. The shark approaches and devours Dodie. The plan works. The hook gets lodged inside the shark's mouth, holding it in place so it can't chase them. Back with Ryan and Heather, they're still on top of the car, and suddenly Heather's dog appears behind them, alive. The dog jumps into Heather's arms, and she's overwhelmed with relief. Ryan gets an idea. He grabs a metal rod and starts banging it against the pipes. The sound echoes up to the group. Jamie realizes it's Ryan and that he's still alive, so she jumps into the water to go save him. Josh jumps in right after her. Jamie tells Josh to take care of their daughter. Tina says goodbye to him as well. Josh gives her Rory's necklace before following Jamie. He closes the door behind the group so the water level doesn't rise even more. Then they open the door leading to the garage, sending a huge wave rushing inside. Jamie finds Ryan, but she and Heather notice the shark heading their way. At the last second, Josh grabs Jamie and pulls her up onto a car. They realize the car belongs to Jamie's father, and Jamie tells him there's a rifle inside the car. They need it to kill the shark. Josh climbs down, grabs the rifle, loads it, and jumps back into the water to finish this once and for all. The shark charges toward Josh with its mouth wide open, but Josh fires just in time and kills it. Meanwhile, Dean's group reaches the exit, only to find it blocked by a car. Dean hooks up the wires to power the vehicles so he can blow them up. But then a quake shakes the building, caused by the hooked shark struggling to break free. And it does break free. Josh notices and decides to deal with it himself. He warns everyone to stay out of the water. When Josh tries to fire the rifle, it jams because water leaked inside. Before the shark can reach him, he jumps onto the ceiling pipes and grabs hold. He pulls out his taser and shocks the shark through the water, electrocuting it until it dies. Dean activates the electrical wires and blows up the cars blocking the exit. The explosion clears the way. The group escapes to find massive destruction. The tsunami has literally wiped out everything. Suddenly, helicopters appear overhead to rescue the survivors. The group has made it out alive, escaping the sharks that filled the entire place. And that brings us to the end of our movie. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.